Ooh, what is up, everyone? How you guys doing? What a night. Game 3 NBA Finals. Welcome to the Hoops Rehab Show. You're probably like, why is Eric B. Mack doing the intro? If you guys missed last night, the doc, game injury doc, Evan Jeffries, he was has been a little bit questionable with loss of voice. He's doing better though, as you'll probably hear in a minute. How you feeling out there, Doc?
I'm doing good, y'all. My voice is slowly getting better. I don't sound so much like Darth Vader, but more of a late night radio jockey. So, but I'm doing good. How about you?
Good, man. Good. Yeah, you definitely sound better. I know at this point it's more the voice than anything. So glad it's starting to get in better shape. And so, man, what a game it was tonight. We're gonna be breaking it down. We're gonna give you all the ins and out of what happened tonight. Look a little bit into Game 4. Talk about that. But first, as always, just want to make sure to mention to please follow our socials at GameInjuryDoc, at Eric B. Mack, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, anything you can think of. I would greatly appreciate it. And then definitely follow the show, most importantly, on our YouTube channel. Again, that is something we're really trying to build. So I would appreciate that if you guys can hit that subscribe, smash that like button, and then, of course, our podcast streaming everywhere. And so we usually get that out to you guys a little bit after the show ends. And so, well, man, all I got to say is before I kick it off to you, Doc, in about 45 hours, we are going to see what OKC is made of. That's all I got to say for now. But what did you think about just kind of preliminary thoughts about tonight's game, man?
Yes, sir. We're really going to see if this one of the youngest teams to reach the finals in 50 years or whatever it is, long time, 50 years, I think. Yeah. We'll see what they're made out of. But what I saw is what I've been preached before the series. You know what I'm talking about, is put pressure on SGA, speed up his game because he's so damn smooth. If you can create some chaos with SGA and make him work harder than he needs to, he will fatigue down the stretch like Jalen Brunson did in the previous series. SGA had one field goal in the fourth quarter. He had a total of 4 points. So he had 2 free throws and 1 field goal. And you can tell there's this one play towards the end, like I think they had about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, is when he got the ball stripped once, got it kind of stripped again, and then it went out to, I think it was Jalen Williams, and the ball, or Chet, it went out of bounds. And then as soon as that play was done, you see him put his hands on his knees, he's bent over, and he is fatigued as hell. So I think the recipe and what I've been saying is if they can create that full court pressure, which they do off a made basket. So when Indiana's playing really well is when they're playing at their pace like they did in the first half. And every time they score a 3-pointer, 2-pointer, you see you'll see Nimhard or Aaron Naismith pick up SGA full court, right? Face guard him all the way down if he doesn't have the ball. If he has the ball, make him pass the ball. And that's what they did tonight. And they also threw multiple guys at him. I loved the minutes that Shepard got on him. And I think that was a huge move by Rick Carlisle by keeping his guys fresh and bringing Shepard in to play hard, heavy minutes on SGA. What do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's very obvious that SGA is running the show in OKC. And other than just the obvious, right? He's MVP. He's a great player. Of course he is. But he has really had to take a big workload for this team. He's been the one guy, again, as you would expect from a star, that's been consistent. And speaking of consistent, you've consistently been talking about you'd love to see what exactly you saw tonight. And of course, it's easier said than done. That's why we probably haven't seen it as much yet. But let's be honest, Indiana made OKC and specifically SGA work. You illustrated how every time he touched the ball, there was a guy or two on him, picked up full court, just really made it miserable out there for him. And I know we'll hear the same, song and dance, most likely, that he was fine in the fourth and he wasn't tired, but we saw what we saw. He's been having really good fourth quarters. I don't think it's a coincidence that his, hands were on his knees and that he had only 4 points, 2 of them being free throws. And so man, you got to give it up to Indiana. I'm not completely shocked that they were going to win one of these two, but I'm a little shocked that the way it went down with just tenacity. I mean, we talked about it last night. We wanted to see them create turnovers and get easy baskets. OKC had 19 turnovers tonight, and they did just that. I mean, that was real key in tonight's victory.
Yeah, I think one of the key things that they did tonight was just get physical, right? And the first 2 games they played pretty passive. Obviously, the first game they kind of closed off that game and was able to win. But just like throughout the quarters, they've played passive ball and kind of allowed OKC to get their spots. Tonight was different. They played the Pacers ball. They played their way. They tried to speed up OKC, right? So they both were in the 64-60 at halftime. So it was a pretty high scoring game. So speeding up OKC, I think, can actually be more of a benefit for the Pacers because, like I've said all series long, all playoffs long, SGA loves to play controlled ball. And if you kind of create a little bit of chaos, which the Pacers do, they create these turnovers, they create this pace of play. And I feel like we've been talking about all kind of postseason. Indiana doesn't have a great defense, but in spurts, they play amazing defense, and especially in the second half, they close out, right? So they gave up, 18 points in the fourth quarter. So they closed out the game. They've been doing this all playoffs long by closing out fourth quarters. And I don't think that trend is not going to continue. I think it's going to keep going on, and they're winning in 6 like I originally predicted.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, hey, it's looking how you would have imagined a path to a 6-game series, right? And so, I mean, look, statistically, they're not, quote unquote, one of the better defensive teams, but they are super athletic. And when you're like that, you do have the ability to have real dominant defensive performances or 5-6 minute segments of a game, right? Where you can do things and make things happen. And so we definitely saw that. Rick Carlisle, look, he's a Hall of Fame coach. He's really been pushing the right buttons. You alluded to Ben Shepherd. I mean, who had that, right? Who knew that he was going to play the minutes that he did, like, as you mentioned, and really play a big factor. And so that's like the beautiful thing of having these deep teams. And I mean, OKC is kind of in the same boat where you could throw a different wrinkle as a series goes on with maybe someone else that hasn't played much. When you got like a typical, all we're going to go is 6-7 deep. It's like, hey, here's our 7 guys and that's what you're going to get. Right. And so I think that's like pretty interesting too, when you think about, but yeah, man, I thought this was like I hate to, not put it out there like a game 7 for Indiana, but to me, it was really, really close because I thought if they lost tonight, that game 1 win really would be all for naught. And the pressure is now all on OKC for game 4. I feel Indiana's got to win the 2 home games to seal this up. And maybe they will, but it's obviously, if you had to choose which one was bigger for, it'd probably be OKC because it's going to be tough to come down from 3-1.
Yeah, that's for sure. I got one stat for you. When I say 49-18, what is that in reference to?
Is that like fast break points or assists?
Bench points.
No, that can't be assists. Bench points. Wow.
Bench points. 49-18. So, I mean, huge game for obviously Benedict Mathurin. He had 27, and he has spurts where he can play like this, and they need every point out of him when they get it. Obi Toppin, obviously amazing, and then just getting some minutes out of like TJ McConnell. That was my second guy that I wanted to say he was going to have a big game. I thought his minutes were just so crucial in this one. And everybody off the bench, honestly, is what led to this victory, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think we talked about it. TJ McConnell. He's at last playoffs. He had some, or last year, sorry, in the playoffs. He was just one of those tough, hard nosed, all up in your face kind of players, and he hadn't been getting as much as the PT, playing time as he did last year. But hey, big 15 minutes, like you said, and again, it goes along the lines of like they have different guys. In the beginning of this series, we were pretty much both in agreement that we thought the bench in Indiana was better, and they're showing that right now. That's a huge stat. For it to be that much of a discrepancy is huge, and like we've said, home teams, the others come out and play. And now see what happens, but Indiana showed out. They got 3 20-point scores. I remember we talked about how, come on, you got to get like some type of scoring. And, it was Siakam, Halliburton, and I believe Mathurin, right? Yeah. Geez, 27 points, huge 27 points. So, team win for sure, man.
Yeah, and we've talked obviously a lot about Indiana, but let's talk a little bit about OKC, because obviously their big three had 70 points combined. Yeah. Right. So Chet had a big game; he had 20. Jalen Williams, right, who was one of my guys for OKC to have a big game. He had 20, 26. Or was it your guy? It's my guy or your guy? Who just say he was?
The keys kind of was like, yeah, Chet and
and then Jalen Williams, right?
And then Siakam, yeah. But
yeah,
they both had decent games. I mean,
both had big games. I mean, I'm not a coach in the NBA, but I will continue to harp on this point. OKC changed this series in game 1 when they didn't start Hartenstein, and I don't care what the analytics say. You are now down 2-1 in the series, and you have changed the dynamics of your team in order to keep up with the Pacers. That sends a wrong message to your team, and now you're down 2-1, and Hartenstein's playing 17, 18 minutes a game. I mean, I'm just saying, the minutes that he's in there, to me, like in the second half, he came in with about 5 minutes, and they ended up taking the lead real quick, and then he kind of was, I think they subbed him out a little bit. Same thing happened. So I don't get why he's not getting the minutes he deserves. What are your thoughts on that?
I think numbers, math, analytics is definitely part of the game, but you got to think a little bit beyond that too, as you mentioned. And so Hartenstein might be just one of these guys that he plays better when he starts, right? It's different for him coming off the bench because he's not this like microwave type player, right? Where someone comes in and changes the pace of a game and, can get his own shot. And, you have those guys that like, Manu Ginobili, right? For all those years for San Antonio that were just meant to come off the bench. And I'm not even comparing the two players at all, but that has to be a thought because they were doing so well these playoffs. I mean, we've been jamming this topic down everyone's throats, but I mean, let's be real. Like they changed the lineup to, I guess, counter what Indiana was doing before even playing a game, And so if they were down 2-1 and they were where they were right now and they had gone with the regular lineup, hey, if they tried something different in game 4, I would be all for it, right?
I mean, now you switch it up if you feel like you need to.
Yeah. And that wouldn't be so bad, right? But they really, really have to look in the mirror and say, we got to figure out something because this is 2 fourth quarters in a row. Again, it's not the start of the game. It's not the start of the third, but it does kind of change the complexion of your rotation. And so 2 out of the 3 games in the fourth, Indiana has owned you guys. And so that's what's going to have to, they're going to have to figure out something. And they got about 1 day to do that. You're on mute. Hey, Doc, you're on mute.
Sorry about that.
Oh, good.
I'm still trying to not cough on air, so that's why I'm putting
sure.
mute. But let me just give you his replacement, Kaysen Wallace.
Let's hear it.
You've brought him into the starting lineup. He's gotten you 6, 4, and 7. So if you decided to insert more offense, right? Per se, like somebody that can score or hit the 3-point shot. You know, he's a decent 3-point shooter. He hasn't made one 3-point shot in this series. He's currently 0 for 6. Okay.
Wow.
He hasn't, in my opinion, done anything different, or actually he's probably made it worse for your team by putting him in the starting lineup, because I feel like if you wanted a spark plug off the bench, that's the spark plug that you get, right? Hartenstein's not going to give you a spark offensively off the bench. I mean, what do you see with that?
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, he's just kind of what we were talking about. Like he's their size. That's what has really made a difference in all these series and games. And why not go with it? Have some of your guys that you're typically having come off the bench, right? Casey Wallace has been valuable for them off the bench, and he could be this instant offense kind of player. Where now he's kind of put in a position where he's, playing against the starters, right? He's not playing against a second string where he can kind of go to work. And I mean, my guesstimation, most of the season, I know there's been injuries that have kind of changed things in terms of their lineup, but he's been more of a role bench player. And so that's what he's used to. And so, yeah, it's changing everything for sure. Man, I do wonder what they do in game 4. They didn't make the change from game 1 to game 2. They probably figured, all right, well, game 2 at home, we just got to handle business and get it done, which they did. But it's starting to get a little scary. They gotta win the next one. They can't really, mess around and tinkle the lineup and and lose game 4, right? So.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, is this something that's set in stone for the coach? Is he not willing to change his lineup, or he really honestly feels this is his best chance? And if this is his best chance, maybe they're just not the better team.
You know what? I'm starting to think that in all professional sports, there's it's not just all about the coach anymore. There's a team that makes decisions, and you see it a lot of times in baseball, and which pitcher you're going to put in and which moment, and they have a game plan going into the game, and it's all these smartest guy in the room, making a decision, and hey, they're paid big bucks to make these, and when it works, it's great, but when you're in the finals and it's not working, you're going to hear about it too. And so I got a feeling, I think he's probably got a strong voice. I mean, he's been there for a while. He's been part of the organization, but I got to think it's just it's a collective decision right now. I don't think it's just his. And so, I don't know. I can sit here and probably say they're like, well, we did play well in the third quarter tonight. They outscored Indiana, and that was probably one of their better quarters of the game. And so I know it's like, man, like we're sitting here like, hey, like, well, what's the problem? But like I mentioned, it's a bad omen. There's just something off about it. And so we'll see when this group, whoever made this decision before, when they get together tonight and tomorrow, we'll see if there's changes made.
Yeah, I'm sure they will look at the footage and the film and kind of determine whether or not they can use a different lineup, or that same lineup is what they want to roll with, right? I just feel like, why change a good thing that's happened? And, we said that in game 1. They lost game 1. OKC's been dominant in game 2s, right? Or fallen a loss, right? So no surprise that they won game 2. But in game 3, it's like, all right, this is what makes the series. Now we know who these teams are. And right now, we know Indiana is a really, really, really good team. And they know how to play together, and they play for themselves. They play for their team, and their bench knows exactly what role they need to play in the game. And right now, I just don't know if Casey Wallace or Hartenstein knows their role, because that's not what they were used to.
Not at all. And confidence is a beautiful thing. And that's what Indiana has. They have all the confidence in the world. They're definitely not scared of OKC. They know and feel they can beat them. And so that man, when you got when you're playing against that, like, and they're obviously talented as well, sometimes it's tough to beat that. And so when OKC was crowned, right, they're going to win the next like 3-4 championships, apparently. And so we got to get one before they get 3 or 4, right? And
Pause. Like, I see that shot. They were already crowned. They were already crowned going into the series, and they were the next dynasty. But you got to get the one.
Got to get one, and they always say the second one's probably the hardest, but I got to think the first one. I mean, you're here, you're there, you're 3 games away from the championship, so you may as well do it. But and you probably feel like you had a maybe a favorable opponent, but I'm pretty sure everybody that played Indiana, those 4 series they've played so far, have thought the same. And so I remember we had mentioned Indiana had lost all game 3s, and so we thought it would be that they would be bound to win one, and they did tonight. And so, yeah, I mean, I know we'll probably talk a little bit more about it, but this is the same exact position the Thunder were against Denver. So they've been there before, and so we'll see if that helps them at all. But that is interesting because they lost game 1 against Denver, they won game 2, lost game 3, and game 4 for all the marbles, pretty much.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how they respond. I mean, hey, Indiana has responded, is basically undefeated in this playoffs after a loss. So they respond really well too.
Wow.
So these are 2 teams that are just neck and neck. It feels like this is going to go 7. I mean, obviously I picked the Pacers in 6, so I'll stick to that. But wouldn't be surprised if the series goes 7. And the other player I just want to kind of talk about, and I know OKC changes their lineups. Their bench will play different minutes. Every game, somebody on their bench will probably play more than they usually do or less than they usually do. But Isaiah Joe kind of spread the floor, went 2 for 2, hit 2 threes like within 4 minutes and only played 4 minutes. And so like I'm just trying to understand, from watching the game, why somebody like that is not getting minutes versus somebody like Casey Wallace getting a bunch of minutes and starting. So, I mean, certain things, I don't think they understand their roles right now. And to me, if I'm Isaiah Joe and I hit 2 threes, like pretty much back-to-back in 4 minutes, and I'm not even playing any more than that, I'm questioning why I'm not playing, right? So I think you get into these, I wouldn't say nightmare scenarios, but you had this team chemistry, right? Everything was working, and then now you've changed that and you changed the rotations. And something that you talked about in game 1, now their rotations are off, right? They're just have different matchups, different lineups at different times.
Yeah, no, Isaiah Joe was looking at his minutes. Yeah, so 11, 8, or 11, 6, and 4 minutes or something. So yeah, not getting too much playing time. And I guess if there was like we talked about all the positives of being deep and it allows you to save energy, allows you to play more guys. But the reason a lot of teams don't do it is because you don't have that clarity with roles come playoff time. And it's important. You typically have 7, 8 guys. You know what they're going to do. You know the minutes they're going to play. You're going to make little adjustments here or there. So I'm kind of like having like a reverse argument to what I was saying before. But I just wanted to point out that is the downside of having such a deep rotation, is that it's possible that a guy or 2 you throw in has an off night, and then I guess you can go to the next crop of players. But it really doesn't allow for these players to get in a comfort zone and know what they're going to do or or the minutes they're going to play coming into a game. And that's important. I mean, sure, they're paid handsomely. They're paid to be ready to play at any moment at a drop of a dime. But at the end of the day, every one of these guys, it's all about routine. It's all about kind of the steps they take before games and kind of what they do during games. And if that's altered in any way, that plays a big difference. And we're seeing that from the OKC side, at least.
Yeah, for sure. I think that does make a difference, especially in the finals, right? When hey, these are the players that we have, and you're 8 deep or 9 deep, and you're solidified on your roster and your rotations. And with a deep team, and you don't really understand who's going to play one night, maybe somebody doesn't play the other night. These are the concerns that we kind of get, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think, honestly, it normally is a good problem to have. I think, just mentioned it a couple of times, I think what it does is it totally allows your star players not to have to play 45, 46 minutes, right? They could play that high 30s, low 40s. And that's kind of the sweet spot in the playoffs. And so, yeah, I mean, it's that's why I think we've had some good fourth quarters. Obviously, we talked about SGA being a little tired in fourth quarter of this one, but that just tells me he's going to need a little bit more help in game 4.
Yeah, and guess who's the only one that played 40 plus minutes? SGA, 42 minutes, right? So, yeah. I mean, he's their superstar. He is what makes them move the needle, right? But again, him playing 42 minutes and being hounded the whole game will definitely fatigue him. And we saw it over and over in the Eastern Conference Finals with Jalen Brunson. Brunson was fatigued by the end of the game in most of those games. And you can just tell by his body language and his ability to handle the ball. Everything that happened in that series is now they've figured out they can do the SGA.
Yeah, I mean, and again, they made 37 field goals and 16 assists. So another low assist game. Again, a signal of kind of iso ball and not a lot of team basketball. And so that's, as you mentioned, OKC's game, and they're not like the Warriors of 2018, 2019, 16, where they're, passing the ball, 4 or 5 times, or the Spurs 4 or 5 times before a shot. But they do need a little bit of playmaking. They need to get others involved. And that was big in game 2. They got a lot more of that, and they won pretty easily.
Yeah, for sure. And if anybody's watching this on Twitter or YouTube in the live stream, please let us know your opinion, what you think of the game 3, kind of what you think moving forward, how everybody's going to react to this game. We want to know, and we'll kind of get to it towards the end of the show.
Yeah, and let us know. Has your mind changed on who's going to win the series? Is it going to be Pacers in 5? Is it going to be Pacers in 6? OKC in 6 or 7? Let us know what you think, because we're going to have a little bit of, at the end of the show here, we're going to put our 2 cents in about that.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, it's more than likely going to go longer, right? I mean, I would be surprised if the Pacers won 2 in a row right now, or that would essentially be 3 and perform a gentleman's sweep. But I'm pretty happy to see that we're probably going to at least have 6 or 7 of these NBA final games, because they have been pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, for the Thunder to, for example, for them to win in 6, they got to win 3 in a row, and you got to think Indiana's going to win one of the next 3, and that might take us to a game 7, or maybe they'll win it in 6. And so we obviously know. Well, I don't want to say we're guaranteed for a game 6, but from an Indiana perspective, they're at least going to go 6, and it's a beautiful thing, because these finals have been good, and not too sure about the ratings and all that, but in terms of just from a pure, basketball standpoint, it's just 2 really good teams that are young, athletic, and, want to win this damn thing. So it's been fun to watch, and it's been good. Breaking news. The Knicks are poaching the Charlotte Hornets, coach to be their next head coach. No, I'm kidding. Sorry. Sorry, I've been meaning to throw that in there. Because the Knicks are trying to steal the show, is what I'm trying to say. Trying to steal the Thunder.
God. I totally thought you were honest. I was trying to think of who is the Charlotte head coach right now.
Everybody's, you guys all started looking up like, wait, who is the Charlotte Hornets coach? You know who I was thinking it still was? What's his name? The one he was there twice, right?
Twice, yeah.
Clifford,
it's the guy from Boston, Charles Lee. It's Charles Lee. But my first vision was the other guy that was the head coach twice, right? And Orlando's head coach.
I just had to throw that in there. A little curveball, but
that had me dying right now.
I think they've been trying to get anybody you can think of. They're going to start I guess going to college coaches now, or maybe putting a job posting on LinkedIn or something. Maybe you can apply, Doc.
I know we talked about it yesterday, but what do you honestly think with this Knicks franchise and why they are still trying to reach out to coaches that have jobs right now.
I'd never seen such a thing. I mean, sometimes it's a thought. Or rumors, right? Like I think Lakers, I mean, it probably never happened, but talked about like Ty Lue maybe last year, right? He was obviously coach of the Clippers. You hear little things here and there, but it's just getting like it's this comedy hour right now. I think Charles Barkley was saying something about it today in the telecast that they were doing. Just like the Knicks are just like embarrassing themselves right now. And so, hey, it doesn't hurt to try. The worst they could say is no, but it's just funny that they're going through like the league basically. Like, was Quinn Snyder the last one that I heard? Like, it's like, come on,
good Atlanta. Coach and all, but Quinn Snyder.
Yeah,
like you fired Tom Thibodeau to go to Quinn Snyder. Like that would make no sense. Yeah. So I honestly don't know what they're doing. What's next? JJ Redick from the Lakers. You're going to ask him, see if he come to New York. I mean, the reality of this is not going to happen, right? This is not a real chance for them to get it coached. And first of all, they don't even have a bunch of draft asset to get the coach, right? So what are they even trying to offer at this point?
Yeah, are they like trying to like maybe there's Michael Malone, but maybe it's like a ploy to, I don't know, like contract situation. To me, it just seems clear as day, but I haven't really heard much from his camp as far as what he wants to do. But it could still happen. Like, right. Like JJ Redick, as we all know, wasn't the guy for a second there. Right. And ended up being him. And, it's been so far so good. But yeah, it's just, I'm just waiting to wake up or see that next Shams tweet about the next team that they're going to be poaching for their new head coaching gig.
Yeah, unreal, man. Unreal. If I was a Knicks fan, I would just be irate right now.
Yeah.
It would be, because you have a really good team, right? And you had a coach who's won more playoff games than the previous 7 by a landslide. So you if you fired him, you had to have a plan in place. And right now, it just doesn't seem like they have the plan in place. And that's the issue that I have with it.
Yeah, it kind of tells me, like, was this like on a whim? I mean, I know we talked about it and I know maybe it was talked about, but we were a little surprised by it. And so I was under the impression that it was planned because they probably thought, hey, if we were going to let him go after losing one round, like, sure, we're probably going to do it. Like, we don't want to have to do it next year. And so, but it sounds like to me, it was just on a whim, probably like last minute decision with no real plan in place for after. I mean, that's pretty damn obvious. So anywho, we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. I think there'll be a lot of movement post finals with trades, and we got Kevin Durant rumors all day, every day now, which will be interesting to see where he lands. And then seems like Giannis is going to be going back to Milwaukee from what he said. So it's going to be an interesting offseason, to say the least. But we have these finals that has to happen ready before that goes. So what?
Yes, sir.
Going into Game 4, what are your predictions as of now? What's going to happen in Game 4?
I mean, you probably know where I'm going to go with this. I been kind of riding them, and I'm sure most have. And I feel that the experience of, playing a championship type team like Denver, being on the brink of being down 3-1, close game 4, heading into the 4th, and then just pulling away and winning. And I think that will mean something in this round, in the finals, of course. And so I just gotta think it's gonna end up 2-2 after Game 4. I'm gonna go with OKC. Can't see that there's gonna be some big shift in game plan, other than some other guys got to step up. Even Chet, who had 20, it was pretty inefficient. He was 0 for 6 from 3. Dort started, I think he was 4 for 5 from 3, so he started 4 for 4. So that was pretty positive. But yeah, I'm gonna just say maybe it'll be the Jalen Williams game. I'm predicting 30 plus from him, and OKC slithering by a close game in the fourth and making it 2-2. And what about yourself?
Yeah, man, this is an interesting one for me because I feel like OKC responds really well after a loss, and they are a number one seed for a reason. They are the best team in the league for a reason. But Indiana is somewhere special to play, man. That crowd is electric.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be electric for sure.
I personally think that the youth of OKC's team and coach are showing in this series. And so I'm not sold that they're going to respond this way in the finals. Yes, they did against Denver with Joker. I totally get that. And I thought that was a great experience for them to have. I think it's something that you have to have as a young team, because if they didn't have that, I think it'd be even tougher in this series. So I'll give them that. So there's that kind of increasing their leverage there. But man, if you get Tyrese playing the way he's playing, right? You can't have a passive Tyrese. You got to have it all with Halliburton. And you get the bench play the way they play, and you get the way Rick Carlisle, RC, your man, makes adjustments. I think they can actually win this game in game 4 and go up 3-1, send it back to OKC, which they'll probably get that one at home.
Yep.
Come back to game 6, and I'm telling you, the crowd in Indiana will just be insane for that. So I feel like I don't think Indiana is going to take this game for granted like they did in game 2. I don't think they're going to be satisfied like they were in game 2. I think they were going to be hungry, greedy, and try to take game 4.
It's a big one. I guarantee you, if you're beginning of the series, you told Indiana that it was going to be 2-2 after 4, they would probably take it. Like, hey, I'll take it. Best. I know OKC will have best out of 3 at home. I mean, 2 in OKC and 1 in Indiana, but I'm sure they would take it. But now that they're here up 2-1, you just got to go and win game 4. Doesn't mean it's over if you don't. Although I think it'll just, the advantage will slide right back to OKC, because game 5 is over there. But I think they just got to go all out. That crowd has got to go crazier than ever. I'm sure they feel it. I'm sure they sense it. It's never happened to them in history. They obviously haven't been in the finals in 25 years. I think, like they said, like almost like to the day 25 years ago was the last like game finals game in Indiana, which is pretty remarkable. And so, yeah, man, like they are just, they're going to be coming for it. They're going to be gunning for it. We'll see. We'll see if that young OKC team can do it. I got to think they have a really good chance at it, but I would not be shocked if, to be honest, at this point, if Indiana wins. It's kind of one of these things where I'm over being shocked when Indiana does good things.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of what I was preaching going into the series, is like, we've said it the whole playoffs, right? Like, yeah. I'll be the first one to admit it. I picked Milwaukee in the first round, right? I was underestimating the Pacers. They easily beat Milwaukee. Next round, you're like, damn, they look pretty good, right, against Milwaukee, and they handle their business against Cleveland. And then you would think they were the big underdogs against New York, handled their business against New York. Huge underdogs in the series. What were they? A minus 750 for OKC to win the series. So I just think they love that role. They relish in it. And, man, I think they might be in their first championship ever.
Yeah. I mean, that it would definitely be that. It's pretty remarkable. I was just looking. So in June 11th of 2000, game 3 was in Indiana. So pretty remarkable to the date, 25 years later. Sadly, I do remember that, pretty vividly. So, not sadly because of the outcome of that series, but just sadly because of the years. But it is what it is, right? That's life. So, yeah, yes, man, it could be very.
We are old.
Yeah. Not to age us, but yeah, it could very well be. Could be time to pop some champagne in Indianapolis, because they smell it, and so 46 hours, 45 hours, OKC.
Let's see what you're made of. Let's see what you're made of, OKC. See if we got that killer instinct And they got to figure out a game plan for SGA, because I think Indiana is going to do the same thing they did in Game 3. Try to create that pressure throughout the whole game there.
Yeah, I mean, we know what both teams are going to do. I mean, at this point, and it's just who kind of emphasizes their style of play more, who is in control more, and to be quite honest, who wins the fourth quarter. And so, as I mentioned, game 1 and 3, OKC probably was feeling pretty good going into the fourth, and they left not feeling so good. And so that'll be something I'll be looking out for too.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Eric, before we kind of get out of here, any other last comments on the series or anything to do with the NBA?
Trying to think. I mean, I kind of threw my jab at the Knicks right there earlier, so that covered that. Off season stuff, we'll talk about it in the off season unless something big comes up, of course. And so, no, other than that, glad that game 4 is pretty quick here. It's we don't have as long of a delay as we've had so far, and so can't wait. And we'll definitely get back to you guys after that game and talk about kind of what to expect moving forward in the series and our reaction to that. What about from you? Any last thoughts?
Yeah, man. Excited to see a team like Indiana playing the way they are. And I want to see how OKC responds. And so looking forward to game 4. We'll be live after game 4 with our instant reactions like always.
Sure.
My voice will probably be much, much better. It sounded a little better today, but I should be on the mend at least by then. So
yeah, absolutely.
Until then, the Hoops Rehab team is out. Peace out, guys.
Peace out, guys. Thank you. Have a good night.